The Big E hosts a gold medal cheese competition every year, and the winner gets a day to sell samples at the Wine and Cheese Bar during the fair. 22 News reporter Tamara Sakarzik traveled all the way to Plymouth, Vermont to give us a behind-the-scenes look at the cheese factory that swept the categories this year.
Plymouth Artisan Cheese Factory has a history that's just as rich as the history of the Big E. They've been coming to the Big E for the past 5 years, but they've been selling cheese in Western Massachusetts for more than 120. Tucked away in a small red barn on the Eastern States Exposition are hundreds of award-winning cheese samples
You're so good.
that are prepared long before the crowds enter the gates. 22 News traveled to Plymouth, Vermont to get an up-close look at one of the factories that has dedicated the past several months to making cheese samples exclusively for the Big E.
That's really good.
We get a lot of cheese ready. We bring down a lot of cheese to show and sample.
This cheese is very nice.
Jesse Werner, the owner of Plymouth Artisan Cheese, explained that for their factory, it's not just about making cheese. It's about continuing traditions that began more than a century ago.
It's the second oldest cheese factory in the country. Actually, it was started in 1890 by Calvin Coolidge's father and has been making Plymouth cheese ever since.
Before President Calvin Coolidge was even the mayor of Northampton, his family's cheese was sold in Western Massachusetts, a tradition Werner expanded on 5 years ago when they first introduced the cheese at the Big E. You taste the finished product at the fair, but what you don't get to see are the hours, days, and years of preparation. Preparation that all starts right here.
This is the cheese making room.
Plymouth Artisan Cheese has spent the past 2 years getting the cheese ready for this year's Big E.
This is actually one big cheese curd right now.
The process starts by pouring hundreds of gallons of milk into this metal bin, then turning up the heat.
We warm it to the proper temperature. We add the cultures that we're working with for the type of cheese that we want to make. After that, we'll add the rennet, which will turn the milk from a liquid to a solid. That makes one big cheese curd.
9 hours later, the cheese is ready to press, freeze, and age. Once the cheese is ready to package, they dip it into hot wax. The idea goes all the way back to 1890 when the Coolidge family first opened the cheese factory and using plastic wasn't an option.
That was part of the original recipe. They would make the cheese and wax it all. It was all wrapped in a paraffin wax, and we really wanted to keep that up to kind of give it the very traditional presentation.
From the way it's made and wrapped to the places it's sold and sampled, Plymouth Artisan Cheese is all about continuing traditions that have been around for the past century. The owner, Jesse Werner, said this year they're bringing 500 pounds of cheese to the Big E. Tamara Sakarzik, 22 News.